Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is 2021 and it's a year to shine. Thanks for being here. I wonder how your year is going so far these first few days. I was back at work today, like probably a lot of you were, first day back in the new year. And I found myself getting a little annoyed at times. And then at the end of the day, I was looking in my planner at my little shine divider thing, and I kind of thought, oh, I need to shine up some of these thoughts, because I remember I already had written down, like, how am I going to shine at work? And then here I was. The complaints were really more in my head. It was just like people that were asking on the phone or something for just ridiculous requests. And you know, I went into the bathroom at one point and I said to the mirror, I was like, I can't create more time in the time-space continuum for what you're asking for. So that wasn't necessarily like a shiny reaction in my head. So still working on it. I'm sure it will take a while. So today I'm going to be sharing our January Extreme Self-Care Challenge. I mentioned this in the last video. It's going to be a monthly, one little video on Cheryl Richardson's book, 12 chapters, one for each month, about extreme self-care. So what do you think that means? I mean, first of all, what is self-care? It kind of seems self-explanatory to say self-care is taking care of yourself, right? And are you doing that? I think we can probably all do a little better with that. So it's things like we learned last year in our Simple Abundance year. It's like scheduling things around your own needs, getting enough sleep, treating your body right, having boundaries, things like that. So Cheryl talks to us about how we can identify in this first one, sorry, I got distracted, how we can identify in this first self-care challenge how we may be feeling deprived. And when you think about deprivation, you might not even realize that you are deprived. Like, you might just be giving and giving and giving, and then not realizing that you have these deprivation of needs, or of not taking care of yourself. So she first asks us to identify, and you may do this in your journal, some things that you right off the bat know that you're deprived of. And it might have taken you to the point of total exhaustion to get to this point, where it's like, I have to take time off, or I have to shut my phone off at a certain time at night. I have to get off social media, whatever it is. And so eventually you're going to get to this point. She gives some examples of things like you might be deprived of sleep, emotional support, time to yourself, physical energy, companionship, peace, you know, if you're worrying all the time, hope. Maybe there's a fear that things won't get any better, she says. And touch, you know, she wants some attention, affection, and closeness. So she's just giving some examples of some of the things that you might come up with. And I like this little box of questions because it really hit home with me when I read this. So when you catch yourself saying things like, I never have enough time to do what I want to do, what you're really saying is, I don't take time for my needs. When you insist, I always end up doing everything myself, the truth of what you're really saying is, I don't ask for help. When you hear yourself complaining, no one appreciates the things I do, what you most likely mean is, I take on way too much, hoping that someone will notice and tell me how good I am or how grateful they are. And finally, when you use the excuse, my kids take up all my time, what you actually need to admit is, I've chosen to make my children's need more a priority than my own. And that could be really for anything. It could be your work situation, could be a spouse, any relationship. So yeah, get the idea of that. So this is our self-care challenge for November. This challenge is a call to consciousness. Becoming more keenly aware of how, why, and where you feel deprived. For this exercise, I'd like you to buy a little notebook, one that you can fit into your handbag or pocket. Then, every day this month, whenever you feel overwhelmed, frustrated, burdened, or resentful, stop and ask yourself, where do I feel deprived? What do I need more of right now? What do I need less of? What do I want right now? What am I yearning for? We had a lot of time to contemplate that last year. Who or what is causing me to feel resentful, and why? And what am I starving for? There's a video from last year about what we're really hunger and thirst for. So, your answers to these questions will help you identify the areas of your life that are calling for greater consciousness and increasing your awareness of what needs to change to keep you from feeling deprived. When you've done this exercise, it's important that you're specific about your needs. So instead of writing, I feel deprived because I have no time to myself. For instance, you might say, I feel deprived of solitary, uninterrupted time away from my children and husband, which allows me to do something just for me, such as read a good novel, have lunch with a friend, or take a quiet bath. Wasn't that a great rewording that she just did? And I think that we are probably aware of, like, I'm so exhausted. And then it's like what you're really saying is, I'm not valuing myself enough to get the amount of sleep I need, go to bed on time, or whatever it is. So I like the way she really reworded that. Being introspective and taking time to arrive at your answers thoughtfully will allow you to gain greater clarity about what your soul most needs to no longer feel deprived. And also, she wants us to be specific. So instead of saying something like, I need to eat better, she says, you might instead recall how particular foods made you feel and recognize that you have more energy when you eat certain things or avoid other things. And rather than just saying that you need fresh air, you want to be more specific and say something like, I need a brisk walk in nature every day in a place where I can breathe. Instead of simply rationalizing that you need help from others, be clear about the kind of help by jotting down the things. So I would think, like in that little notebook that you have, if you're feeling overwhelmed and like you have no help, then maybe you're making a note. You know, the list I have about the things that I want to simplify, this would be a similar sort of concept to make note every time you feel like maybe you're out grocery shopping and you're just exhausted and you're just thinking like, I need somebody to grocery shop for me. And then you know what you need and that you need to ask for that. So she says, instead of saying that you just need the help, that you want to say more specifically in your notebook, I need someone to do the laundry every week, get the lawn mowed when I'm not around, and do some of the grocery shopping. So that's just an example. And rather than noting that you're tired of directing staff meetings at work, you would say something like, I need someone to run the staff meeting on Mondays, take notes, and then distribute them to the appropriate people. So she gives us some examples if you're having trouble admitting or even realizing what some of the things are. So she already mentioned this one, but getting better sleep, developing a creative outlet, creating soul-nourishing friendships, considering ways to have more fun and or adventure, identifying and seeking pleasurable activities and experiences, finding soul-nourishing space at home and work. Becoming aware of how you experience deprivation in your life is critical to making the changes required to achieve optimal wellness and happiness. Keep your inner antenna, I like that, finely tuned to what you need. This is making me think about my whole little project with having fun and something to look forward to, because I really did identify, would I call that a deprivation? Yeah, I would call it a deprivation. So if you can come up with something like, say it is that thing about not having enough time, And then you make that a priority. And what does that mean? What does that look like? It probably means communicating that to other people, which may be difficult, but this is a part of your life and your quality of life. So communicating that, also quantifying it. Like, I like how Cheryl said, be specific. So maybe it's like, I need Tuesday and Thursday nights to myself so that I can read my book and not have to watch the show that everybody else is watching or something like that. So I hope you sit down and think about these things. I told you in my journal I always write, what do I need right now? And that comes out of this, but also out of the Simple Abundance book that we discussed last year. So that's our self-care challenge, our extreme self-care challenge for January. And I hope that you do it, whether you keep the little notebook around. I think that's a great idea to really notice when something's happening so you can jot it right down. Or maybe you could just sit down right now and you already know the ways that you feel deprived. The next step, which is a little challenging, and she didn't really tell us how to do it. And that's, I've done this, I've gone through this book before, but I don't remember if maybe the next one is, no, the next one's not the way to fix everything, but that's going to be personal probably to each person. But identifying the things the first time is the first step, and then making yourself the priority in following through with those things is really, that's probably really the challenge. The challenge is probably not coming up with these things, because you already might know what they are. The challenge is probably following through with them. That just came to me, but I wonder if you agree. So I'll put the notes about this book if you're interested in it. It's a beautiful book too. It's I have the hardcover, but it has pretty pictures, and Cheryl Richardson's a wonderful life coach and very inspirational. So I hope you get something out of it. I'll be coming back each month with a new one near the beginning of the month. So this one's January. So try to figure out where you're deprived, and then the next step is trying to see what you can do to change that. Have a great night, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.